Hello friends, I hope you all are doing fine, and today we continue our interesting discussion on yet another session of urban sociology. And if you can recall our previous class where I was trying to discuss about the relationship between industrialization, urbanization and migration, we have also discussed about other few concepts like suburbanization and over-urbanization. I am sure you must have visited different cities in India or probably abroad also, and many of you must be living in cities also. But do you anytime get a question that how and why this city existed? I will talk about my own city. I am a resident of Hyderabad, and whenever I try to know and explore about my own city, one prominent name comes into my mind, and that is of Bhagyamati. And the city of Hyderabad, basically going as per the things what we have heard, the city of Hyderabad is basically based on love. And on the name of Rani Bhagmati, the city was named as Bhagyanagar, the city of luck. And I am sure every city in this entire world or on this planet Earth will have some interesting nostalgic things to be conveyed, to be discussed, to be shared. You talk about Varanasi. In fact, in many of my lessons I have been talking about Varanasi. You talk about Delhi, you talk about Ahmedabad, you talk about Amchi, Mumbai. All will give you beautiful stories. In today's session, we are going to talk about how these cities evolved. Probably we will not confine to one particular city, but cities as a concept, how did it evolve? And in this session, my focus will be on ancient and medieval cities, and in our next lesson, we will try to talk about modern cities. So, it has been a matter of immense interest and curiosity to understand the emergence of cities and their expansion and change and urbanism as way of life. The earlier cities emerged and grew along the fertile river valleys in the Middle East and Asia. Domestication of plants and animals provided material surplus, a significant precondition for the growth of cities. This was made possible when few types of work were no longer carried out by the people who were involved in agriculture and were supported by the surplus produced by the cultivators. This distinction created a stratified society of cultivators and non-cultivators. On this note, let us try to discuss about ancient cities. In ancient India, emergence of towns and cities dates back to almost all 2350 BC, when cities like Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, Lothal, Kalibangan emerged. After the decline of Harappan civilization approximately in about 1500 BC, the urban trend in India ceased to exist for a long time. In the pastoral Rigvedic society between 1500 to 1000 BC, there was no question of agricultural surplus. For this reason, trade and commerce could not flourish, and the rural economy of the Rigvedic period could not transform into urban economy. A permanent and stable agrarian economy developed in the later Vedic era around 1000 to 600 BC. The Aryans began to inhabit in the central Gangetic plains. Farming advanced with the use of iron tools in fertile soil, and surplus agricultural products led to various vocations. Trade flourished and cities started emerging in the Gangetic plains around 6th century BC, nearly 1,000 years since the urban Harappan culture was wiped out. This phase is called as the second urbanization. Kaushambi, Kosal, Vidarbha, Achiyatra and Hastinapur are the noted cities, mainly the political strongholds in the later Vedic era. India around the time of Buddha had 60 cities, the principal ones being Champa, Rajgriha, Shravasti, Saket, Kaushambi, Varanasi, Vaishali and Chirant. Vocational crafts had led to their rise. Later, urbanization grew in the Maurya and post-Maurya ages also. Friends, for a moment, let us pause and understand one thing, that cities cannot be formed until and unless there is the agricultural surplus. And that is why, if you can recall, in our previous lessons, we have also discussed about agricultural revolution slightly before industrial revolution, because it was agricultural revolution which facilitated agricultural surplus, food surplus, and once there is a food surplus, the existing population can diversify into other non-agrarian occupations. So, for formation of cities also, agrarian surplus is required. Archaeologists have identified cities on the basis of its size and from the scale of its remains. The cities first emerged during the Bronze Age, and then second phase of urbanization took place during 6th century BC. Bronze Age refers to a period in history when there was an increased dependence on copper and copper alloys, when copper is mixed with other metals such as arsenic, tin or lead to manufacture bronze. It is the period when the earliest cities in India emerged in the civilization that witnessed the emergence of well organized cities planned and inhabited by specialists such as carpenters and metal workers. It is very important to discuss about V. Gordon Childe in his book. What has he written? The book is The Bronze Age, published in 1930. He says that indicators based on archaeological data to distinguish earlier cities from older cities. The Indus Valley civilization dates to 5000 BC and grew steadily during the Gangetic Valley region southwards and northwards to Malwa. The cities of this period were larger than contemporary settlements in other countries, were situated according to the cardinal points and were built of mud bricks, often kiln fired. Houses were constructed with a large courtyard. Courtyard is like our angan, open space inside the home. Large courtyard opening from the front door, a kitchen workroom for the preparation of food and smaller bedrooms. Family activities seem to have centered on the front of the house, particularly the courtyard, and in this are similar to what has been inferred from sites in Rome, Egypt, Greece as well as Mesopotamia. The most famous sites of this period are the great cities of Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, both located in present-day Pakistan, Mohenjo-daro in Sindh province and Harappa in Punjab area of Pakistan, which was part of India until 1947 and the partition of the country which created the separate nation. At about 1700 to 1500 BC, the Harappan culture began to decline. Scholars, they cite climate change as one possible reason. Friends, take a pause and think that today we are talking about climate change. So, was climate change a challenge thousands of years back as well. Today when we are talking about climate change, we talk in terms of global warming, increasing pollution. So thousands of years back, what kind of climate change would have led to the degeneration of this beautiful civilization? I think we all should do some reading on this and try to explore. Discussing further, the Indus River is thought to have begun flooding the region more regularly, as evidenced by approximately 30 feet or 9 meters of silt at Mohenjo-daro, and the great cities were abandoned. Other scholars cite the Aryan migration as more of an invasion of land, which brought about a vast displacement of the population. Among the most mysterious aspects of Mohenjo-daro is the vitrification of parts of the site, as thought it had been exposed to intense heat which melted the brick and stone. Cities also existed in and beyond the Indus Valley. The important cities have been located in Harappa in Punjab, Mohenjo-daro in Sindh, and Lothal in Saurashtra. The city of Mohenjo-daro clearly revealed many features of urbanism. It was a well-planned city. It sounds so nice when you read this, when we study this. So it was a planned city with an efficient drainage system. The houses were well planned with sanitation facilities, a large granary. Granary is a place where we store our food grains. It was also found, and it is a ritual center. The cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro had a citadel made up of mud and mud brick, which was raised above the ground and demarcated from the rest of the city. The important buildings for administrative and ritual purposes were placed here. Thus, we see systematic town planning, which we are talking in today's time. Those times also there was town planning, administrative functions, military, agriculture and commercial economy, craft production and ritual organization. The Vastu Shastra talks about the science of town planning and presents different categories of towns based on the kind of functions it performed, such as trade, commerce, manufacturing, administration and military. The 6th century BC witnessed the second phase of urbanization in India, which is also known as the early historical period in Indian history, and there was emergence of a definite system of coinage which was essential for organizing trade and commerce. There was an abundance of silver punch marked coins. There developed a system of writing, and there is a reappearance of the baked brick, which is used for monumental architecture, including the fortification. There were different kinds of cities during ancient period. Among the different types of cities during the ancient period, the capital cities were the most significant. Patliputra was an important city during Mauryan age, which had fortification, towers and gates. It remained a seat for political power under various dynasties, and with Buddhist influence, it was also a center of learning. It even had a large population during the reign of King Chandragupta. Ujjain was another important city during the ancient times. It was not only the ruling center of the Saka dynasty, but it was considered important from a religious point of view by the Hindus, Buddhists and the Jains. It was also an emporium of trade, exporting precious and semi-precious stones. In southern India, Kanchipuram was the capital of Pallavas and Cholas. It was also a place where number of religions flourished. So friends, just imagine what kind of a secular environment existed even in ancient India, despite the presence of the multiple religions. It was also a place where a number of religions flourished, as it was home for Vaishnavites, Shaivites, Jains and Buddhists. Several literary and artistic developments took place in this city. It was a well fortified city, and the temple dedicated to goddess Meenakshi is situated at the center of the city. It also housed the royal palace, the royal classes, the merchants and the artisans and various religious specialists. Increased urbanization and wealth attracted the attention of Cyrus, ruler of the Persian Empire, who invaded India in 530 BC and initiated a campaign of conquest in the region. 10 years later, under the reign of his son Darius I, northern India was firmly under Persian control. The regions corresponding to Afghanistan and Pakistan in today's time, and the inhabitants of that area subject to Persian laws and customs. So friends, just to give you a glimpse of the ancient cities, please have a look at these wonderful clips and wonderful images, and let us all travel back in time and visit Kalibangan. Kalibangan is a town situated in Hanumangarh district of Rajasthan. It's located on the banks of river Ghaggar. Kalibangan is the third important city of Indus Valley civilization. The city had received its name from innumerable pieces of terracotta bangles that were excavated there. As you can see friends on your screens, Dholavira is an archaeological site in Kutch district of Gujarat that contains ruins of an ancient Indus Valley civilization. It is one of the 5 largest Harappan sites. Rupar is a city of Punjab. It is also one of the bigger sites belonging to Indus Valley civilization. Rakhigadhi is a village in Hisar district in Haryana. It was the site of an extensive city and part of the Indus Valley civilization. Lothal in Gujarat is one of the most prominent cities of the Indus Valley civilization. The findings consist of a dock that makes Lothal the world's earliest known port towns. It was a thriving trade center during Indus Valley civilization. Ganeriwala is situated on the dry river of Ghaggar, now a part of vast desert which is spread over 80 hectares and is the largest sites of Indus Valley civilization. Aror is located 8 kilometers east of Rohri in present day Sindh, Pakistan. It had served as the ancient capital of Sindh and was once located on the banks of Indus River. The city was once the prime center of commerce and trade. Agroha is an ancient town in Hisar district of Haryana. It is an Indus Valley civilization archaeological site. Ancient structures, pot shards, coins and seals have been found in this particular archaeological site. Kannauj, a district of Uttar Pradesh, is of immense historical significance in ancient India. Please have a look at its beautiful images. In ancient texts, it is described as a city which raised its head to the skies and which in strength and beauty might boast of being unrivaled. That was the glory of city of Kannauj. Friends, times change, you all will agree with me. With times, situations also change, technology also changed, even our cities also underwent change. So, from ancient cities, now we will move on to medieval cities. Now, let us try to understand about the medieval cities. There were administrative centers, temple towns, as well as centers of commercial activities and craft production during medieval periods. Medieval period, as you can see through the images on your screen, medieval period witnessed an upheaval in most parts of the country. This was a transitional time and unstable political conditions could not give place to planned and systematic urban growth. Fortress towns ruled by petty rulers only could grow. As part of medieval period, Delhi Sultanate is an important milestone. Delhi Sultanate brought with it an urban revolution which was possible due to political and economic stability, centralization of the power. One prime reason for emergence of towns was trade. However, towns in turn also stimulated trade by acting as greater markets for merchants. There existed some cities that gained importance due them being centers of administration or of some manufacturing product. Rulers had a significant role in settling and developing towns. To cite a few examples which is also there on your screens, Firoz Shah Tughlaq built town of Firozabad, Jaunpur and Hisar Firoza. During Mughal period, which was another important milestone, the growth of towns happened at a faster pace in 16th, 17th century, which continued up to the middle of 18th century. The basic feature of a town was the presence of a market. The Kasbah is defined as the village with a market. There was a hierarchy of towns from the Kasbah to the district headquarter to provincial towns like Agra, Delhi, etc. During Mughal India, when Mughal period was very prominent, towns were centers of manufacturing, banking, marketing, etc. Fatehpur Sikri, built by Akbar, while Shahjahanabad by Shah Jahan were a couple of important towns. Geographical location too played an important role in the development of towns. Places which were nearer to rivers or centrally located developed faster due to the trade activities that could be easily carried on through rivers, and placed which were located in close proximity with that of other places. The beginning stage of a medieval town often was a walled fortress, the internal roads connecting the marketplace which was near the gate of the castle. Cities are believed to have their roots in the villages. However, they are not simply villages that have been extended. Cities in the earlier period grew along fertile river valleys, which was an entirely different kind of setup when compared to the present cities. The domestication of animals and farming in course of time gradually led to growth of urban centers. Merchants and traders were organized into guilds which were acting as banks apart from the distribution of goods and services. Public received regular interest from the guilds for having invested their money. So, in a way it was a kind of a share market of the medieval time. The king also recognized the guilds' function as ordinary courts dealing with customary laws. In the past also, skilled workers were organized into factories. Along with state enterprises, individual enterprises also existed during the period. However, it is also interesting to note that the respective state capitals also witnessed the growth of commercial centers in them, because of the reason that the merchants needed the patronage of the king as well as the state so as to flourish. The merchants needed appropriate hinterland and availability of channels of their communication for their organization. Medieval Indian cities were built and developed by a number of rulers who ruled over the country during the medieval period. Every city narrates one or the other aspect of Indian history. As you can see on your screen, friends, Belur served as the capital of Hoysala Empire in medieval area. It is located in Hassan district of Karnataka. Chennakeshava temple forms the main point of attraction of this city that exhibits magnificent Hoysala architecture. Inscriptions discovered from Belur states that city was previously called as Velapuri. Bengaluru is situated in the state of Karnataka. In medieval India, Bengaluru was included in the territory of number of successive South Indian kingdoms, including Chalukyas, Rashtrakutas, Hoysala, Vijayanagar Empire, Tuluva dynasty and many more. The city had also witnessed migration of administrators, artisans, traders, warriors, cultivators as well as pastorals. Friends, think for a moment that the present day IT center of our country was also very significant during the medieval period. For about 6 centuries, from 1399 to 1947, Mysore served as the capital of Mysore princely kingdom. The kingdom was primarily ruled by Wadiyar dynasty. However, for brief period of time, Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan, Wadiyars had considerably enriched the culture of Mysore and over time has emerged as the cultural capital of Karnataka. Daulatabad is a fort city of medieval India formed in 14th century. Previously, it was known as Devgiri. The city was the capital of Tughlaq dynasty under the rule of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. The city also houses the ruins of several Buddhist caves which you can see on your screens. The place is also famous for Daulatabad fort, which was captured by number of forces including Marathas, Mughals, Peshwas, including the Nizams of Hyderabad. Ahmednagar, situated in Maharashtra, was formed in 1494 by Ahmad Nizam Shah. It was built at the site of Bhingar, an ancient city of India. It was the territory of Deccan Sultanate till its conquest by Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan in 1636. A number of monuments stand in Ahmednagar which were built in the period of Mughal Empire, and a glimpse of it you can have in your screens. Ahmednagar Fort is one of those monuments, my dear friends, which was once regarded as the second most unconquerable fort of the country. Delhi was captured by several rulers like Turks, Afghan and Lodi dynasty. A number of townships and forts were built by these rulers in this region. Later, Mamluk Sultanate, Khilji dynasty, Mughal dynasty reigned over the region. Thus, Delhi has been the center of various kingdoms of medieval era and has also contributed in enriching the cultural heritage of the country. Shahjahanabad, also known as Old Delhi, was established by the Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan in the year 1639. Shahjahanabad served as the capital of Mughal dynasty throughout their reign. Elegant gardens and mosques adorned this city in medieval era. In fact, my dear friends, you all must be familiar with the beautiful monumental architecture during the medieval period, Taj Mahal being one of them, and medieval period cities and rulers had one more distinction, that wherever they established their capitals or their kingdoms, they also created beautiful parks. Many parks even today, including the park in our president's home, our president Rashtrapati Bhavan, we see is the leading mark of their green cities with tremendous architecture in that. Presently, the place of Shahjahanabad has become extremely crowded and is regarded as the symbolic heart of metropolitan Delhi. Charai, though located in Assam, is another medieval town and is popular as the first capital of Ahom kingdom. It also served as the symbolic center of Ahom dynasty, as it houses the sacred burial grounds of Ahom kings and queens. It is also considered to be the place of Ahom's ancestral gods. Maidams, or the tombs of the Ahom kings and queens, closely resemble the pyramids of Egypt, exhibiting excellent architectural and artistic skills. Orchha in Madhya Pradesh was founded in 1501 by Maharaja Rudra Pratap Singh, a Bundela chief. After establishing the town, he became the first king of the place. The fort of Orchha was also built by him. During the rule of Mughal Emperor Akbar, Chaturbhuj temple was constructed in Orchha by the Queen of Orchha, Ganeshi Bai. Other medieval Indian cities include, apart from these, Amritsar, Anandpur, Gujranwala, Vijayawada, Midnapur, Konark, Hampi, Chandragiri, Bijapur, and many more. Thus, the emergence of towns seen in the medieval period and the factors contributing to their growth continued till right until the British occupation of the country. So friends, so far we have tried to understand and discuss the various ancient and medieval cities, and as I just told you, times changed, cities changed, social life also changed. But the evolution of cities is not going to stop here. Evolution is a constant process, and that is why our elders have said that nothing is permanent except change, and evolution reflects this change. So in this session, we have just tried to have a glimpse, because it is actually impossible to study in detail the entire ancient and medieval cities in such limited time, but I am very sure that this session would have made you more curious, would encourage you to explore more and more cities of ancient India as well as medieval India. And why such things are important, apart from, from academic perspective, when we are connected and when we know better about what has happened in ancient and medieval period, we are much better informed for the present period. So we will continue this discussion with reference to the evolution of cities in modern period in our next lesson. Till then, whatever readings you have done, and if you think that it's worth sharing with me and worth sharing with your other friends, please do write to me on pandevini@gmail.com. And till the time we continue the next session on evolution of modern cities, be happy, keep exploring, and let us be part of positive urbanization. Thank you all. Take care. See you. Bye-bye.